Well, this morning I'm on the Dara Hills Loop walk here in the mountains of County Limerick. Well, today our third visit to the Ballyhoura Mountain Trails. We're back here to experience the unique, tranquil and magical walk that takes you on a journey close to nature to help you find out more about the rich tapestry of flora and fauna that inhabit this area. Ballyhoura is well known as a mountain biking hub, but there's much more to this region, particularly if you're a fan of hiking. Spanning 3 counties, Cork, Limerick and Tipperary, Ballyhoura has a vast network of walking trails where you can hike over the mountains, through green pastures and right alongside historical sites like Holy Wells and Castle Ruins. And if you want to make a break out of it, there are plenty of places where you can stay along with great cafes and restaurants to refuel after your trek. Situated in the south-west of Ireland, on the borders of counties Limerick, Tipperary and Cork, Ballyhoura is an area of green pastures, woodlands, hills, mountains and vibrant towns and villages. It is the perfect place to get off the beaten track and discover rural Ireland. Now folks, I'm back here on the Ballyhouras in County Limerick. We're pushing up rather severe inclines here. It's around 9 degrees, quite chilly in an exposed environment. But we're wrapped up well, and the lunch is behind us. So we're buzzing from mountain trekking this morning. Now this morning we're tackling the purple route, which is the Dara Hills Loop. We've done 2 of these trailways already over the past few weeks, and the weather was horrendous. Now once again there's a pretty dismal weather forecast for this afternoon. We came over one almighty hill and became immediately acquainted with another. The Ballyhoura Mountains are in southeast County Limerick and in northeast County Cork in central Munster, running east and west for about 6 miles on the borders of both counties. The name Ballyhoura comes from the Irish Bealach Aura, meaning Owers pass away. Their Irish name on Slieve Riva, anglicised Slieve Ria, means the Brindle Mountains. The mountains include Seafin at 528 metres. Near Seafin, on the northwest, is Blackrock at 516 metres, and 3 miles to the west is Carron Mountain at 440 metres, on the boundary of Cork and Limerick. Once again we find ourselves here at Glenroe Fairy Village, a magic, tranquil place, shady hollow in the woods, absolutely stunning. We just had our picnic, sat down, no intruders, no walkers. So now we're heading on further into the mountains and woods. Now it might seem to you out there that we're doing a similar walk here in the Ballyhouras. We're in the same location but on a different loop. So enjoy the scenery and enjoy the walk. As you all know by now, my favourite environment when I'm walking in the great outdoors are woods, valleys, vales and shady areas with large amounts of vegetation. And this place has all the ingredients to embrace and enjoy. Immediately east of Seafin is Knockea at 1,311 feet, east of which again is the detached mountain of Knockeen Amroanta at 1,319 feet. Between these, the pass of Barnaderg leading from the plain of Limerick to the plain of Cork. At the north side of the valley is the peak of Barnageeha at 1,196 feet. The southern part of the hills is largely afforested with conifer plantations. On the northern side there is extensive heathland and blanket bog. The Ballyhoura Mountains have been listed as a special area of conservation. The blanket bog occurs in most of the flatter areas and features such species as heather with deergrass, hare's tail cottongrass, common cottongrass, bilberry and crowberry. The wet heath is dominated by heather, cross-leaved heath and bilberry, accompanied by a range of mosses and liverworts. The Ballyhoura Mountain Bike Park, situated near Seafin and Blackrock, is the largest trail network of its kind in Ireland. The trails range from the moderate 6-kilometre Greenwood Loop to the demanding 50-kilometre Castle Pook Loop. The nearest towns and villages to the trailhead are Ardpatrick, Glenoshean, Ballyorgan and Kilfennan. Now the rain is beginning to happen, and it's getting quite blustery and rather wet. A long walk. We're now here in Ballyorgan in the West Limerick countryside. And we're just going up here to look at a little quaint church. So I think we're in for another drenching this afternoon. It's been a big walk so far. Now we've taken a deviation here from the trail, and we're going down here to have a look at this quaint church, Kilflynn Church. On arrival here at Kilflynn Church at Ballyorgan, in atrocious wet weather, we discovered the front gates were locked. So we had to do a recce in high grass and find a hole in the churchyard wall. And I had to give my good wife a leg over to get into the graveyard. This church and graveyard are located in the townland of Ballydonoghue, in the parish of Kilflynn and in the barony of Coshlee. It is located east of Ballyorgan village and south of Kilfinnan town. This is a Church of Ireland church on the site of a medieval church dedicated to St. Flann in the 6th century. It became a Trinitarian monastery in the late 13th century when the Geraldines rebuilt it. The present church stands in the middle of the graveyard. It was built as a church of first fruits in 1812, and it was used by the Palatines, the German Anglicans, hence the unusual array of surnames to be found on the gravestones here. This is the only one of a handful of historic graveyards in Ireland to be dominated by people with a Rhineland German heritage. The church has been out of use since 1994. The church in Kilflynn Church of Ireland graveyard was built for the Protestant families of Ballyorgan and Glenoshin in 1812. It was last used for public worship at midnight on Christmas Eve in 1994. Its interesting chancel window, dating from the middle of the 19th century, has the Oliver Gascoigne coat of arms. It has some records relating to the local Palatine families. Access may be arranged by prior appointment with the Fenton family, who reside nearby. A Kilflynn rector, Reverend Edward Duncan, was also an army chaplain in World War I. In 1916, he was awarded the Military Cross for conspicuous gallantry and devotion to duty. He was killed a year later whilst attempting to rescue soldiers wounded in a shelling bombardment. Well, we find ourselves in another church graveyard. This one is called Abbey Cemetery. Now the weather is horrendous, quite wet, and there's an impending storm. But nevertheless, we continue on foot, and we have a long ways to reach the chariot today. The site here was formerly known as Monaster Ballyhoura, the monastery of the town of the Standing Stones. In 1655, there is reference in the civil survey to it being called Abbey Ballyhoura. In 1840, the Ordnance Survey name books refer to the site as Monaster Nagal. The name Abbey refers to a monastery believed to have been founded here in the 7th or 8th century. By the 14th century, the Dominican order had established a house here. It was suppressed during the Reformation in the 16th century. The last prior was Donna O'Dorgan in 1558. The ruin of the abbey forms the northwest corner of the graveyard. Though heavily overgrown with vegetation, it is most likely that the abbey complex was composed of many more buildings than what survives today. A History of Limerick, published in 1866, included a list of sentences passed by the General Court Martial in Limerick on the 4th of July, 1798. Included on that list was a Patrick Wallace. He was found guilty of collecting subscriptions for procuring the assassination of Captain Charles Silver Oliver. According to the sentencing, he was to be hanged at Kilfinnan. His head was then to be affixed on one of his own pikes and placed on the castle to serve as a warning to others. Local folklore records that after he was beheaded, his mother took his head from a stake outside the marketplace in Kilfinnan and buried it here in a family grave. Now the weather has turned absolutely atrocious once again. This region is notorious for bad weather. Well, it's still early April. The bridge here at Dara was the site of the Battle of Dara in 1798, in which the North Cork militia fought the United Irishmen.
Really?
Dara Bridge is a single arch sandstone bridge over the river.
The bridge is a high quality craftsmanship built circa 1828 and forms an integral part of the architectural heritage of the locality. During the 1798 rebellion, George, King of Mitchelstown, responded with his North Cork militia, supported by Kilfinnan's Charles Silver Oliver. Glenroe Ballyorgan locals intervened to block Oliver's Kilfinnan's cavalry here at Dara Toll Bridge. The 4-hour battle followed before Oliver's men finally broke through and headed for Wexford. Locals paid a severe price later when mass evictions resulted in this area.